Dr. P, let me start with you. I know you support this little girl and her parents. Of course, the critics say this has gone too far, that it's sort of, pardon the term, tyranny of the minority, because it's one little girl forcing an entire class full of first graders to wash their mouths out 3 times a day, to wipe down their desks with Clorox wipes, to not have any peanuts, any peanut butter of any kind, to wash their hands several times a day. And the parents are saying it's taking time out of education.
Yeah, well, you know, Megan, I think it starts a great conversation about improving hygiene in the schools overall. In this case, it might be about peanuts, but the hygiene in schools overall today is horrendous. And if this gets kids to actually be more hygienic and to bring more hygiene within the classrooms today to prevent infections and help this kid with peanut allergies, I'm all for it. But I can tell you in my own case, when I look at the circumstances, what my kids have to put up with, it's god-awful in terms of how dirty it is in the classrooms.
Well, but this isn't so much a segment about dirt in the classroom, China. It's about whether these kids should be forced, against their parents' wishes in many cases, to be washing their mouths out 3 times because the breath of peanuts, you know, like if you have peanuts on your breath, they say this little girl could be killed.
Yes, I know. And, you know, I love kids as much as the next person, but I think this is borderline ridiculous. The mother said that the child could not just develop a rash, but possibly die if she were so exposed. So are you telling me that you're placing the potential death of a 6-year-old in the hands of other 6-year-olds? I mean, this is, I feel for the child, but I don't think that it is the right idea to expose her as such. Also, the washing compulsively is disturbing to me. I would want little children to wash their hands because they see dirt on it, not because they have this psychological compulsion that if they don't, they'll kill their classmates.
What of that, Dr. Pete? I just want to tell our viewers what you're seeing, those protests that we're rolling, those are the protests by the other parents who are saying our kids have rights too. It's not that we're not empathetic to this little girl, but this is the school's gone too far.
I think the kids have rights, but I think there's nothing wrong. This kid's got clearly a peanut allergy that, you know, the minimalist exposure is going to cause a problem, and I don't think it's being over-offensive in terms of requiring the children to be careful.
Is there anything less they could do, Dr. P, to protect the little girl, but not do all this to the other kids?
Yeah, maybe the mouth washing 3 times a day and through the breath is probably excessive. So, you know, you heard that one clip about a parent saying maybe there's some happy medium. So I think the hand washing probably has more of an impact than probably getting it through airborne. And so I think they've got to maybe peel it back a little bit and say, all right, it's important to keep the hygiene.
But they're not peeling back because they're actually bringing in peanut-sniffing dogs now into the classroom, China. The question is, you know, obviously this little girl is going to be endangered outside of the school as well. If she ever gets on an airplane, any public space where somebody has peanut butter, she could be in trouble. But China, the law, the American with Disabilities Acts and the other laws that govern schools say the schools have to find a reasonable accommodation for this child, do they not?
Yes, they do, but not at the jeopardy of other children. I mean, I'm getting anxious just having to think of washing my hands that many times, and I'm an adult, so I can only imagine the anxiety that would be going on in the minds of these children.
What do you think they should do, China? Should they homeschool their child?
I think that's a possibility. I think that that's something that they can sit down with the school and talk about, but I think that there's an enormous amount of anxiety around the child that's being passed on to other children. So it's not good for anybody. Actually, since the beginning of time, there have been rules about not distracting your classmates. Mary had a little lamb. She couldn't bring the lamb to school, you know, because it was distracting. So
is that how that goes?
Well, listen, the teacher had to take the lamb out of school at some point in the rhyme, and so all that's to say that we can't distract other children, you know, just to accommodate one child. I think that that's a conversation that could be had between the parents and the school. It's not something that the children should be anxious or compulsive about.
Yeah, we're seeing it more and more in this day and age when we have such strong allergies popping up among young children, and the question is, you know, how much should the majority bend to help the minority? It's all well and good to criticize it, and then when it's your child, you really want people to help you out. So you see both sides. Hey, panel, thank you both so much.